What's going on, guys? I'm Andrew, and this is Movie Source. Today we're going to be going over 30 Easter eggs, references, and trivia from the newest MCU film, Eternals. We already did a review for the film, which you can check out in the description below. We're also going to be doing a review and Easter eggs video for the next MCU film, Spider-Man: No Way Home. Hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Careful for spoilers if you have not seen Eternals. Alright, starting off, Dane is speaking to Cersei's class and says, "Poets' hope and optimism in humanity echoes our most recent universal victory, the return of half of our population." He's of course referring to the events that recently happened in Avengers Endgame. Dane Whitman mentions wizards 3 times throughout the film. This is a possible reference to the fact that he is a descendant of the Black Knight, which is Percy of Scandia, and that the ebony blade was engraved on a meteor and enchanted by a wizard Merlin, who was most likely the Sorcerer Supreme during that time. Cersei gives Dane a ring for his birthday of his family crest. During the post-credit scene, we see that same symbol as his comic book outfit. We can also assume that Cersei knew members of his family during that time and didn't actually get that ring from eBay. Kingo is an Indian movie star in this film. In the comics, he is an East Asian national and is a martial arts star. Kingo mentions that his valet Karun thought he was a vampire and tried to stab him in the heart. This is a reference to Blade, who is also a voice in the post-credit scene that speaks to Dane. Gilgamesh says that Kingo's valet Karun is similar to Alfred in Batman. He is of course referring to Alfred Pennyworth, Bruce Wayne's butler, surrogate father, and most trusted confidant. Thena suffers from Mad Weary. In Avengers number 361, Cersei is the one who comes down with Mad Weary, which is the secret curse of the Eternals. It is basically dementia for an Eternal. Kingo mentions that Thor used to follow him around, and now that he's a famous Avenger, he will not return his calls. We also hear Sprite mention Captain Rogers and Iron Man being gone and asking who's going to lead the Avengers now. This confirms that the film takes place just a short time after Avengers Endgame and right around the time of Spider-Man: Far From Home. The Eternal ship is called the Domo. This was also the name of an Eternal in the Marvel Comics who administered affairs on the Eternal City of Olympia and uses a highly advanced hover chair. Phastos calls Cersei and Ikaris Sylvia and Isaac. These are actually the names they go by in the comics to blend in with humans. Cersei's human alias is Sylvia Cersei, and Ikaris is Isaac Ike Harris. We get an obvious Black Panther reference when Ikaris asks if the table is made out of vibranium. Phastos' son Jack is named after Jack Kirby, who created the Eternals in the comics. On the IKEA table, we see a Star Wars coloring book. The shirt that Makkari is wearing is an H.G. Wells shirt of the War of the Worlds. When Ikaris destroys the Domo, it is very similar to how Superman destroyed his Kryptonian ship in Man of Steel that General Zod was piloting, and also after Ikaris brings Ajak back to South Dakota to lay her corpse on the ground and screams in agony, it mirrors when Superman did the same thing after snapping Zod's neck in Man of Steel, both doing something they didn't want to have to do. This makes sense that the character mirrors some scenes from Man of Steel, as he even gets called Superman a couple times in the film by Phastos' son Jack. We get an incredible scene where Crow the Deviant, now equipped with Gilgamesh's powers and thoughts, tries manipulating Thena before killing her and absorbing her powers. In the comics, Thena leaves the Eternals to live among the Deviants and her soulmate Crow. Thena and Crow's relationship was off and on for centuries, and they even had twins named Deborah and Donald Ritter, proving that an Eternal and Deviant union was possible. Sprite creates an illusion and then stabs Cersei through the stomach. This mirrors the scene from Joss Whedon's The Avengers in 2012, where Loki did the exact same thing to Agent Phil Coulson. In the Greek myth, Icarus flies too close to the sun, melting the wax that kept his artificial wings together, and dying for the resulting fall. Icarus's death scene is a reference to the Greek namesake, as he flies directly into the sun. Also, we mentioned how there were references to Batman and Superman in this film. In the Zack Snyder directed film Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, Lex Luthor says to Zod's dead body, "You flew too close to the sun," a reference to Icarus, which, as just mentioned, he does fly too close to the sun in this film. During the final scene of the film, Arishem says he will look into Kingo, Cersei, and Phastos' memories to see if Earth is worthy to live, and that he will return for judgment. In the comics, Arishem is not the first Celestial like the film, but he is the judge who decides if a planet should be saved or destroyed, weighing in the good and the bad traits of the planet. In the comics, Ajak, Makkari, and Sprite are all males. In the film, they are females. Eternals is the second MCU film that Ramin Djawadi has scored, the first being the original Iron Man in Phase 1, which began the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He also does the score for each season of Game of Thrones, which both Richard Madden and Kit Harington star in. The cast and crew were evacuated from the Canary Islands set in November 2019 due to the discovery of some bomb remnants from a military shooting range near the set. Angelina Jolie and Richard Madden were present on set and eventually evacuated. Keanu Reeves, Luke Evans, Rami Malek, and Ian McShane were all considered for the role of Druig before Barry Keoghan was cast. Chloe Zhao cites The Revenant as an influence of the film's action sequences. Gemma Chan didn't expect to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe after appearing in Captain Marvel as Minerva until Kevin Feige approached her while promoting Crazy Rich Asians to play a new character in some further production, which ended up being Sersi in this film. In this film, Ajak is the leader of the Eternals. In the comics, it was the Eternal Zurus. However, Zurus was often confused with the Greek god Zeus. As Zeus is appearing in Thor: Love and Thunder, next year, Zurus is removed from the film. The Eternals have taken the identities of mythological beings across history. Notably, Athena, Icarus, Circe, Makari, and Phastos are named after the Greek gods Athena, Icarus, Circe, Mercury, and Hephaestus. In the comics, the Eternals got into a brief clash with the existing Greek gods over the identity mix-up. Chloe Zhao described this film as a melting pot of influences. Jack Kirby's original work, previous Marvel Cinematic Universe features, which Zhao is a big fan of the MCU, Terrence Malick films, the Final Fantasy series from 1987, and her love of science fiction and fantasy films, TV shows, novels, and manga comics, specifically Ancient Aliens from 2009, and the works of historian author Yuval Noah Harari. She hoped those influences would create a marriage of East and West. Tatiana Maslany was considered for the role of Circe before Gemma Chan was cast. Maslany would eventually go on to play Jennifer Walters in the upcoming She-Hulk series for Disney+. Well, that's going to do for this video. Let us know in the comments section if we missed out on any Easter eggs, references, or trivia, and also let us know which one we went over that was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, we'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and share the video. We will be posting our Spider-Man No Way Home review and Easter eggs video after we see the film next month, so be on the lookout for those videos. Until then, see you guys next time.